How the Turtle Got Its Shell. A long time ago there lived an old turtle. Turtle's best friends were Butterfly and Lizard. They all got along well together and were able to talk amongst themselves and live freely amongst the other animals. Every afternoon when the sun was still bright and shining, the animals of the land would gather around and listen to the stories Turtle had to share. Since Turtle was quite old and How the Turtle Got Its Shell. A long time ago there lived an old turtle. Turtle's best friends were Butterfly and Lizard. They all got along well together and were able to talk amongst themselves and live freely amongst the other animals. Every afternoon when the sun was still bright and shining, the animals of the land would gather around and listen to the stories Turtle had to share. Since Turtle was quite old and lived a longer life than the rest, he always had interesting stories to tell. He told stories of his past, stories of his family, he shared stories of his travels, and stories of his adventures with his friends. As an offering and a thank you for telling great stories, the animals of the land would present Turtle with small stones and rocks of different colors. Some stones were pink, others were red, some were shiny, and others were not, but each stone was significant to Turtle. Turtle was grateful for these gifts and always kept the stones close to him. He had tons of them. One day, Turtle, Lizard, and Butterfly all decided they would travel across the river and gather food from the other side. Turtle loaded his stones on his back, and they all proceeded on their journey. Lizard, being the bravest, led the way, while Butterfly flew alongside Turtle. It took the three of them 4 days to reach the other side of the riverbed. Butterfly and Lizard were both very patient with Turtle, for he was old and did not walk very swiftly. By the time they had reached the other side, they grew very tired, so each decided that they would take a nap. When Turtle awoke from his slumber, he was surprised to see that Butterfly was talking to a porcupine. Once Butterfly realized that Turtle had awoken, she flew over and expressed that Porcupine had warned her that this was Serpent's territory and that Serpent did not like unwanted guests. Porcupine's advice was for them to leave as soon as possible. Butterfly, Lizard, and Turtle were all very grateful that they could trust Porcupine to help them and thanked him for warning them. But before they could even move a muscle or blink an eye, Serpent sprung out from behind the bushes. Butterfly grabbed Lizard and they flew off into the mere distance as Porcupine scrambled away. Serpent's long, scale-like body slithered quickly across the ground in search of the trespassers. Turtle was scared and he was slow. He would not be able to outrun the serpent, so Turtle thought hard, he thought wisely. He looked around to see if there was anything he could hide under, but there was only the grass and mud and his stones that he had brought with him. He began to panic. The serpent was slithering closer and closer, but it had not yet seen Turtle. Turtle took a bit of mud in his hand and smoothed it over his back. After, he threw all the stones that his listeners had brought him, adding a few small rocks that he could find, and loaded them on his back, creating a cave-like shape around his body. Turtle saw that Serpent was edging closer to him, so Turtle ducked his feet, head, and arms into his new cave. Turtle was still. He didn't breathe, he didn't move, he stayed very still in his cave. Serpent passed the stone-like object many times. Turtle snickered a bit. He had fooled the serpent. The serpent left. Butterfly saw this and came back and landed on Turtle's back. Lizard peered into the cave. Where is he? They thought. Turtle snickered again. He was glad that he had come up with this disguise. Just as Butterfly and Lizard were about to leave, Turtle stuck his head out. Lizard and Butterfly were stunned. They complimented Turtle's new accessory. Butterfly, Lizard, and Turtle all began on their journey home. When it rained, Turtle stayed in his new shell. It kept him warm, dry, and safe. He was very happy with it. When they returned, Turtle told the story of how Lizard, Butterfly, and him had all escaped the selfish serpent. And again, the animals brought Turtle more stones. Every time Turtle received a stone, he put it on his back. He treasured each and every one. And he was sure to thank every animal that had given a stone because they had saved his life. For the years that followed, Turtle wore his shell, and he wore it proudly. The stones did, however, lose their color, and it started to fade into a grayish green, but every other turtle after him had a shell, and they too wore it proudly.